Not long ago, this beautiful piece of art was being shown to history students as an example of what a wonderful piece the ancients could make out of stone using simple handmade tools. However, while shifting into different locations, it broke and something else showed up, which doesn't agree to the version of history that they preach in schools, so they just no longer use it and simply ignore it. And next we have sculpture found in a museum in Italy and officially dated 200 years before Christ. However, a student who was very keen to photograph himself sitting on the leg of the man, and this misfortune happened. The statue broke. It really seems we don't really know what techniques were people using in the faraway antiquity, or these are not real antique artifacts, and we are just being misled because somebody thinks that we should not know what actually happened at that time. And most people nowadays even don't care about similar facts when they're presented to them. Just look at this photo. They have such a advanced and beautiful world nowadays to live in. Why would they care about the ugly antique world? Not only we create such a beautiful environment nowadays, but we can even beautify the older things, make them look better. Look at this picture. According to the official version, this is a column supposedly made of marble at an archaeological site in Cyprus, officially dated at the 1075, year 1075 after Christ. And of course, what we are told in school is that these columns are made of solid marble. And it is not the only one. So it seems something is profoundly wrong with what we are being told about the antique history. In ancient Egypt, there is such an abundance of examples where uh, when the plastering falls off, everybody still can see that this is not a stone, this is some sort of concrete or something like that covered with plastering of geopolymer nature. This is officially presented to be an original antique head of a pharaoh made of granite. However, if one is attentive enough and curious enough to have a look at the beard of the pharaoh where the plastering has fallen off, one will see actually plain concrete below the beautiful top layer of plastering. These are authentic Roman style statues where few types of stone are combined together by the usage of a technique that is unknown to us. And yet we are being told that the people at that time were primitive and much less educated than us. Look at this amazing sculpture. It is presented to us as being carved of stone using primitive hand tools. Isn't it a bit remarkable if somebody hits this mesh, this net with a metal object that breaks off pieces of the stone? Obviously, it will break the net itself. This is a piece of artwork made by Lorenzo Borghini in 1621 and is kept in the Borghese Gallery in Rome. And although the master himself speaks with his own words, he says, "I conquered the mystery of marble. I made it soft like wax." Like wax. Still, the history tells us that this was done with primitive manual tools and with chiseling the stone. Many other amazing artworks are also very difficult to, at least for me, to accept them as being done with primitive methods. They look like more they have come out of some sort of mold. Moreover, they're so smooth. By the official version, they must have been sanded to get this smooth effect on them. However, in many cases, that is obviously not the case because they are smooth even within like the folds inside clothes or other very small spaces where no instrument could reach to smooth the surface after the suggested initial rough chiseling of the stone. So after careful examination, one really gets the impression that these are not really stone sculptures, but they are casts. They were molded out of some geopolymer, or maybe the stone was brought to a very softened state, something like that. These are photos of one of the columns in the famous Pantheon in the center of Rome. I mean, I'm not surprised that nowadays logic is not taught as a subject in school. In the past, in schools, kids would learn logic. They would learn how to think logically. And I'm not surprised that is not included in the nowadays educational programs because anybody with even a slight capability of logical thinking will conclude after seeing this and many other photos of similar sites that this is not a column that has been carved out of a stone piece, but we have a case where plastering has been applied over another material. And it is extremely logical to conclude that these columns are actually geopolymers. Geopolymers are, so to say, artificial stones, man-made stones out of powder, or some people even suggest that smaller stones could have been used inside the mixture. However, this is not the way it is presented in the official history, and school kids from all over the world learn completely different thing. And yeah, the question remains: do we really know how life was in Roman times, or we think we know? And this is from Pakistan, a supposedly stone statue well, fell apart into its pieces, and this is what we have now. These are old photos of the Sphinx before it got its frisure, so to say. We see it in its current state after it has undergone serious cosmetics. Please pay attention that the body of the Sphinx is it is indeed a natural stone. You can see horizontal lines which are the way natural stones are. However, as far as the head is concerned, most probably it is a geopolymer made and it is just glued on the body. And one of the proofs for that would be the horizontal layers that are actually very, very thick. Such things do not occur in the natural stones, such large gaps between these layer marks. So this itself is one of the proofs that the head of the Sphinx is made of geopolymer. And by the way, that makes me think something. It is so much different nowadays, the Sphinx. Apparently, the people who did the renovation knew how to get very similar results using geopolymer, very similar to how things were done in ancient Egypt. So we are not even sure how much of the ancient knowledge is lost, how much is it a mystery. Maybe it is simply not publicly available. If you have not visited an interesting website called geopolymer.org, I would advise you to do so and get familiar with the scientific research that has been done years ago and that suggests very, very strong reasons to believe that a lot of the ancient Egyptian monuments were geopolymer creations, even parts of the pyramids. I'm not saying everything in Egypt is polymer, maybe most of it. And I don't mean to somehow make them feel less important. I'm just trying to find out the truth. So although this theory has very good grounds and has been presented long time ago, this was not a reason for the official history that is preached on TV and schools to present the theory to the masses, and they feel more comfortable with showing to people slaves pulling and pushing impossible heavy stones. Years ago, I visited the majestic temple of Karnak in Luxor, and me, as all other tourists, I noticed kind of smooth spots all over the ancient monuments. I had a close look at them. You can see right now one on the screen. All around there are images, writing and figures, but in some areas there is nothing. So I had a close look at those areas and noticed that they are first of all lower, second of all different color and obviously different material. And because of that time, I was not aware of this theory of Davidovich about the geopolymer nature of the ancient buildings in Egypt. I decided according to my belief system at that time, that this must be some sort of cement because it looked like a cement, like concrete, obviously different color. Must be some type of concrete that they put on, to preserve the building, like kind of modern feeling. It was very obviously not a stone. That's the explanation I could find out for myself according to the things I believed at that time. And I ignored the obvious um, not solution, but the obvious fact that actually these were not stones, but these were concrete or geopolymer structures covered with plastering that imitates sandstone or whatever stone it imitates. And those thoughts of mine are an excellent illustration about what happens to confused people when they are given very wrong information. The only information I had in my head about ancient Egypt at that time were the slaves pulling and hitting large stones, and I ignored the obvious that this is some other type of work just because of my belief system. And this illustrates very well how people get misled en masse about their history and how they start uh, believing all kinds of illogical things and create other illogical things based on the wrong information they have. And later on, well, in alternative history sources, I actually came across the information that this is not some recently added restoration material, but these are the original buildings. I was actually shocked.